Hi guys, and welcome back to the world of 28mm. I'm Adam, and in this week's episode we're going to be making these look a bit more like this.
So I bought these palm trees from wish.com. I think they're about £3 for 15 or 20 of them. And you can separate them apart, as you can see there. So we're just taking the tops off. Now they always come with a lot of mould release spray on them, and this is what they use when they mould them in the factories. So just to get rid of this, like we do on our models, we're going to give it a quick soak in some hot water, and then just a bit of a wipe down. In this case I'm using a scouring pad, but if you do use a scouring pad, use a used one so it's not as harsh. So once that's done, we've just got to get the mould lines from the side. So we can do this just simply with a hobby knife. We don't have to worry about the detail because there is no detail usually where the mould lines are. Another handy little trick I picked up from the terrain tutor was to use a flame of some kind. So you're just running it gently along the mould line and it will sort of just melt it away. So we need to make these things look a bit more realistic. So to do this, I'm going to start off with the trunks, and I've just placed them in some polystyrene. We're going to spray them with some Montana Gold mushroom, which is essentially a very dark brown. It's the same colour that I use for all my other trees, like the deciduous green trees and the cherry blossoms and such. Now we've got to tend to the fronds themselves. So for the tops, I'm just using a Montana Gold spray, and it's called Fern Green. And it's pretty much exactly the same green that they are to start with, so I was quite lucky in that respect. But just give them a good coat and get rid of that glossy shine that they all have. And then repeat that step for the tops. Now we don't want them to be one solid, green. It'll be very bland. It'll look nice, look better than the gloss. So what I'm going to do is use some Citadel Death Guard green. It's basically a light drab. So take that and just give them light sprays around the edges. It will create some colour differential in there, and it will just make things look a bit more interesting. And then we're going to add a third step to it with another Montana Gold called Sand, I believe it was called. It's out in the spray shop now. But we're going to weather them up a bit. So you see palm trees that are in the sun, sometimes they have sunspots on them. So we're going to mist the tops of them. We're going to hold the spray can roughly about 6 to 10 inches away from them and just lightly mist the top just to catch that yellow. Then just to finish them off, we're going to give them a good old matte varnish. So going back into super speed mode now, we're going to highlight the trunks up. So I've got some nutmeg spice from Wilco's, and I'm just going to dry brush them lightly over the tops and that will just catch those little ridges on the palm trees, on the trunks. Now it's time to reassemble them. So I've pre-made a base here for them. This is just my usual 6mm MDF. I'm using a little hobby drill, which is the same size as the pegs, to make a little hole in there. So you're only going to want to go about halfway through because you don't want to drill all the way through to the bottom. So I'm drilling about halfway through, about 3mm into the 6mm, and then chopping a bit of the little peg off the bottom of the tree, and then just putting it in and using some latex based glue to hold it there. I'm not overly keen on using super glue to do this, just because it risks clouding up the bottom and then you've got to touch up your paintwork. And once you've got all your trees trimmed and in place, all that's left to do after that is just to use my usual basing technique with some texture paint and a bit of PVA and flock just to finish these off, and you'll have yourself a nice set of palm trees.
And there you go, guys. I hope you found this week's episode enjoyable and helpful. So like it if you've liked it, share if you think anyone else would like to see it, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for the next episode. Have fun, guys.